And I thought I'd got rid of them, all mine. I thought I'd sold them. I mentioned it a little while ago. I had a hardback Fallout 3 strategy guide that I hadn't even opened that I sold. Or so I thought. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the free Trading Game Collection Challenge, the series where I build a video game collection without spending any money on it. Today, I have some pickups from Vinted, from CEX, and I have a whole host of other things to show you as well. I wouldn't say it's going to be a jam-packed episode, but there's definitely a lot to get through. Before we get through that, though, let's head to the description where you can find the link for today's sponsor. Thank you to today's sponsor, K4G.com, a digital goods platform for PC and console gaming. So if you're looking for the latest releases, such as Football Manager 2023, they have you covered with huge discounts. Even if you want to pre-order the latest games, from Forspoken to Dead Space, these also have pretty significant discounts. They also have 24/7 support and over 4,000 positive reviews on Trustpilot. They also carry a huge selection of gift cards, so whatever you're looking for, I'm sure there's something for you. If you use the code TVM at checkout, you get yourself a nice 10% discount. All the links are found in the description. So I've mentioned this in another video, and it was the Let's Build a Movie Collection series, where I've gone into the attic to find Christmas decorations, and on my quest to find Christmas decorations, I've actually stumbled upon some other things. So I've actually found some VHS that I showed in that video, but I'm going to show you again briefly here, and then we'll get onto the other stuff that I found that is relevant to the video game series. So I found the live-action Turtles movie VHS that will be sold. It's probably going to be part of the Let's Build a Movie Collection series, even though it does kind of fit into this one if I wanted it to. I found the second movie as well, which again sells, and sells for more actually than the first one. Probably about 35 to 40 on this, which is crazy. It's a VHS, you can get it on DVD for like £2, if that. Then I found, this is not related to video games at all, but Beavis and Butthead Feel Our Pain. Probably going to be keeping that one. I really enjoy that. And then Turtles, the original cartoon from like 1990. I think it came out in 1987, but this one's from 1990. Return of the Technodrome. I think it was 1990. Either way, yeah, that's what it says on the VHS. Either way, I could keep that as part of the video game series. It is definitely sun damaged, though. I kind of want to get a better one if I'm going to do that. I'm not going to look to collect VHS in this series per se, but there are going to be a few that I may want to add to the collection, and I will probably include that in this series. But for today, I found those. They're part of the movie series, like I said, but I thought it would be cool to show you. And then we can get on to the things that are actually relevant to this series. Now, I used to work, and I don't know if you know this, I used to work in a video game store. That is a running joke here because I say it all the time. And then I used to buy everything. And I have said this before, I used to buy every single video game that came out, anything on the 360 that was new that came in, you name it, and I've played it. Up until like the last year of that console, I played everything. My Horse and Me 2, Hannah Montana. Honestly, I've played it all. I was a gamer score whore, and I just needed everything new. Had massive discounts on things as well, like 25-30% on new stuff, 50% or something along those lines on pre-owned. I can't remember what it was. It was quite high. But either way, that included anything and everything. Strategy guides were amongst those that I had discount on. And of course, back then, in 2008 to 2012, 13 era, strategy guides were big business. They used to come out for nearly every single release. And I thought I'd got rid of them, all mine. I thought I'd sold them. I mentioned it a little while ago. I had a hardback Fallout 3 strategy guide that I hadn't even opened that I sold. Or so I thought. So I'm looking through this box, find the VHS, but I also find strategy guides. First one I find, Dante's Inferno. I said that I really liked this game before, and I don't know if I mentioned I had the strategy guide. To be honest, I forgot I had the strategy guide for this. This retailed apparently at $12.99. It's worth about the same now as it was when it came out, which is a little bit surprising. I kind of thought maybe it would be worth a little bit more, and it's very in-depth and detailed. But my whole point of me showing you these is that I'm not keeping these. Like, strategy guides are cool, but I mean, I could put it on a shelf, but it doesn't. Do you know what? It doesn't really do anything for me. It's a banging game, but I'm never ever going to sit down and read this or even use it. If I need to find out, like if I'm stuck in the game at any point, whether it be this one or any of the ones that I'm about to show you, I'll just Google it. I'm not going to use it for its purpose, and I don't have anywhere to really store it. So that's the first one. Now, in terms of how much these owe me, it's tough, because yeah, $12.99. Was it actually $12.99 when I bought it? I don't think so. I think it was $9.99, just going off pure memory. But also I had discount on top of that, so I really don't know how much this owes me. So I'm not going to do it bit by bit. I'll calculate it as best I can and give you a rough amount at the end of me going through these guides. Up next is a hardback for another absolutely banging game. I probably would keep this if it didn't have the damage to it, because this is much more compact and a little bit cooler than the Dante's Inferno guide. This is Mirror's Edge. Like I said, love this game. In fact, I think I even mentioned that I had this because I said I had the guide next to me when I was playing through it first time, because a lot of it is a little bit like, well, where do I go now and how do I do this jump kind of thing. Again, the artwork on the inside of it is decent. I wouldn't say it's amazing on this one actually, because there's a lot of like there's a lot of that going on. Like this bit do this bit do that. It's not like as graphically impressive as the Dante's Inferno one. I do really like the cover of it though. It is really cool. But there is a bit of damage to this one here. There is no price on it though. I really don't know how much this cost me, so that is going to be pure guesswork. Next is a game that I'm playing right now, although I'm playing the second one. It is Red Dead Redemption. Now I have actually used this to the point where it's got creases in it and I have been flicking through it and stuff. This is a very, very handy guide. Even now, in the days of YouTube and Google, this will show you some things that are very difficult to find online, specific things to find and specific ways to do things and craft things and whatever. But a really, really good guide. Retailed apparently at $12.99. Again, this is probably accurate. That probably was $12.99, but again, I had discount on top of it. The whole point of me saying the price of these things, of course, is because I am going to look to sell them. The Mirror's Edge one, like I said, I would keep it because you can kind of display that because it's compact, it's a hardback, but it's got a little bit of damage on it, so I'm thinking of maybe moving it on. I am very tempted to go and look for the special edition of that as well, because I do really like Mirror's Edge. But anyway, back to Red Dead. That guide will go up for sale, and hopefully will achieve around 10 to 15. Up next is a game that I've never mentioned, but I really, really liked it, and I completely forgot it existed until maybe a year ago, and then I started watching playthroughs of it again because it's just such a niche game. It is The Saboteur. This again retailed at $12.99. Don't think it was $12.99 to be fair. This still has the map in it as well. I kept very good care of things, I guess. Again, another really in-depth guide that will tell you how to do literally everything and the best way to do it all and things. Again, I don't know how much this would have cost me. If you don't know anything about this game, by the way, we don't even have this in the collection because no one has it in stock right now. I keep checking my local CEX, they just don't have it for whatever reason. It's not an expensive game. It's like £3 or £5, somewhere in between that. But that'll probably go for like 10-ish. And then we get into the two absolute bangers. This is where the money is. Two hardback guides. I wouldn't say two desirable games. The first one is so random. Why you'd ever need a guide for this game, I don't know. And there's a reason why I haven't opened it. Yes, this is still sealed. This is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The official strategy guide, Prestige Edition. This was £20. But again, I had discount. I can't remember, did it come in like a special edition or something? I really can't remember, but I would have had discount on that. It probably would have cost me more like 15. That right now is probably worth about 50 to 60, believe it or not. Whether anyone's actually going to pay that, I don't know. I'm hoping they will. But for right now anyway, between 50 and 60, probably owes me 15. Such a long time ago though, but that isn't the most impressive one. To me, this is. Now, I've spoke about it before. I said I thought I sold it. I dread to think how much it's worth now. It's actually worth pretty much the same as that, between 50 and 60. Maybe I could squeeze it a little bit more. It is the Fallout 3 hardback edition, but it's sealed. The seal on it isn't the best. It's starting to sort of come away a little bit because it's a little bit loose. The amount on this again is another £20. It wouldn't have cost me that. I actually got this as well as the Fallout 3 special edition with the lunchbox style tin and the bobblehead and stuff. Didn't go for the Pip-Boy, probably should have because that's worth a lot now. But that, again, I didn't need it, I didn't want it, I wanted to play the game and experience it for myself without even looking anything up, and I'm glad I did. That probably owes me 15 again, and is now worth between 50 and 60. So all of them together are worth a pretty penny. So on screen right now for you is the amount that I think I'm going to get after fees for these, with the amount that I would have spent on them taken out of it. So that's how much profit we are going to make from those strategy guides. It's not 100% accurate. It can't be, because I don't know how much they're actually going to sell for. But I'm hopefully going to try and shift them either on Facebook or Vinted, or maybe even take them to a collector or a store that sort of deals in this sort of thing, and see if we can get a decent amount of money there for them. I might explore that option. I'm probably not going to get as much as I could if I sold them myself, but I've tried to be as conservative as possible, and if they sell for more than I've estimated, then I will add that on. They definitely won't sell for less, because that is the absolute minimum I'm willing to take. So we have that amount of money to add to the cash profit, which I've done for you on screen. So that's how much money we have in the series that I can go out and just spend on whatever I want. Now, I will probably look to do that in the sales this year. I'm probably going to go and look to buy some newer games in the sales. But for right now, what I decided to do was just hop on over to CEX and have a little look around to see if there's anything that I want immediately, maybe that's been on my list for a little while. Nothing too expensive. I'm not going to go mad and buy a brand new game or anything. But I'm going to have a little look around and see if there's anything in CEX that I want. There's quite a few PlayStation 4 games that have been on my list for a while. LA Noire is one of them. Although I am leaning now maybe that I want that on the Switch, because I feel like I want to be just sat down playing that handheld, and if I ever go on a plane or on a train journey, which I may or may not be taking soon, I kind of want a Switch and a game that I can just really get lost in, and I think LA Noire might be that game. But there are plenty of other games on like PlayStation 4 and things that I'm very tempted to pick up. And at the moment, I mentioned it when I talked about that guide, I am playing Red Dead Redemption 2. And just walking around that world and experiencing the things that, like talking to people randomly, there's random events that happen. I'm just sort of going from point A to point B. And between that, it can take me an hour, because there'll be like 3 or 4 people who need my help, or skirmishes going on and you want to get involved or something. But yeah, the game is just so in depth. I love that open world realistic aspect. But then part of me wants another open world experience, and there are plenty of other games that are sort of pulling on my my strings a little bit. But also racing games. Racing games are games that I used to play all the time. I hardly own any racing games, and sports games in general. None of them tend to hold their value much, but some of them do, and I like picking up the odd boxing game here or there. You know, there aren't that many, and there hasn't been a new one, I should say, for a number of years. But they do exist on other platforms, 360 for example. There's just so many different options, but I didn't want to go mad. I didn't want to spend loads of money. So what I did was I bought one game in CEX, and then I went on Vinted. Now I'm on Vinted, and I'm having a little look around, and there's always stuff on there that is really cheap. It's a brilliant app. I'm a big fan of it. The one thing that it doesn't annoy me, because it's just, it has to happen. It has to be a thing. Postage and the little fee that they add on. So they add on a little fee because the seller doesn't pay any fees. The buyer covers that side of things. So when you're buying like a video game that's like £5 or £10, the fee is only 50 pence to £1. It's never really more than that. But then you add on postage on top of that, and a game that they've got listed for like £2, for example, which normally sells for like £8, all of a sudden you're paying nearly £8. You're paying £5 or £6 for it. So you're not really getting it much cheaper than if you could just walk into CEX and buy it. But I found what I consider to be a bit of a bargain. This cost me £5.50, £5.60 or something, all in. That's including the amount it cost me to buy the game, the fee and the postage. And in CEX, I'm pretty sure they sell it between 12 and 15. It is a PlayStation 4 game, the Yakuza Remastered Collection. The Yakuza games are games that I've never played. Always been interested. Maybe I dabbled in like a PS2 one or something, but I've always been interested in it. It's not necessarily, or they weren't in the olden sort of games, these ones in particular. They weren't the most groundbreaking of graphics and gameplay, but they just look really, really enjoyable. This is Yakuza 3, 4 and 5. Apparently going back and playing 3 is going to be quite difficult for people who are not fan of the franchise, just because of the the gameplay of it. Maybe not necessarily the graphics so much, but the gameplay in particular. 3 and I think possibly 4 are going to be a little bit harder because the mechanics are quite outdated, and it's quite a hard, tough going if you're not a fan of the series, apparently, from what I've seen in reviews. But number 5 is meant to be pretty good. And of course, there are a hell of a lot of other games that have been released in this series. So I thought picking that up for nearly £5-6 all in is a must. And there are, of course, a few discs in there as well. Well, 2 discs. It's a little bit broken, and they did say that in the listing, that thing there is broken. But it does come with the manual, and it does come with the 2 discs that are in banging condition. So can't complain for £5.50. If I needed to get rid of that, if I just wanted to trade it in because I'm never going to play it or didn't like it, I would still be in profit here. But we've spent like £5, I'm going to say £6. I've spent £6 of that guide's money essentially on this game. But that's not the only thing I bought today. I did buy another PlayStation 4 game. This next one and this final game is 100% probably the most boring game I could have bought, because everyone owns it on every platform imaginable, and that probably narrows it down to 3 games. But it's a game that I've looked at and wanted for a long time. I've finished it 3 or 4 times on the 360. Like I said, they've brought it out a plethora of times since. I don't know if there's a PlayStation 5 remastered version. I'm sure there will be at some point. I am, of course, talking Skyrim. I was playing Red Dead, and I love Red Dead. Red Dead 2, obviously, I'm playing. I'm really, really enjoying it. I really am. But every time I play it, it reminds me of all the other amazing open world games I've ever played. And this one is always up there. This was an absolutely incredible game for the time, and I'm sure it's still incredible now. I want to go back and get my Daedric armor and go for it again. I really, really, really enjoy this game, and I want to play it again. I probably won't play it for a while because there's a lot of other things I want to play first, but I want it. And £10 for it, more than happy to pay that. It is the special edition. I don't know if that means that it includes the DLC, because it doesn't say on the label like it normally does, no DLC. So I'm guessing anything and everything is on the disc, because the disc itself does say the special edition. So there's that. Yeah, we do have I would say a manual. Is it a manual or is it it's almost like a pamphlet. There you go. There's your manual. Bit of artwork on the inside, not bad. Just really want that game. £10 out of pocket. Could I have got it cheaper elsewhere? Facebook, Vinted, maybe. But it was on the shelf and it was calling to me. So there we are. So 2 new games for the collection, 2 PlayStation 4 games, £16 coming off the total cash profit. That is something that we don't normally do. Go out and buy things, flip them, and then use the cash to just go and buy another game. Normally what I would do is use that in like a spend and the profit kind of situation, or I would use part of what I've bought to trade in to get credit. Now going forward, I have around 5 more episodes planned and basically done. Like all the recording is done, I just need to edit them together. So I wouldn't say they're going to come thick and fast. I'm going to maybe drip feed them out a little bit, but I've got a lot of pickups. I've got a lot of trades, I've got a lot of spending the profits, I've got a lot of spending the credits, and I've got something else as well. Going forward into the new year, which is going to kind of link into that video that I put out a couple of days ago with the 15 games that I want to pick up next year, which nobody watched, but if you did, thank you. I want to go out and say, right, I want a game that costs 30, 40, 50, 60 pound, whatever it may be. I want that game. Say the new Need for Speed, for example. I want that game, but I need 50 pound. I want to then go around as many shops and as many as I need, finding things I can flip to get a potential profit of that 50, 60 pound. That would mean that I could just walk into a shop and buy that Need for Speed game, knowing that I have the profit secured from everything else that we've bought in that episode. So I want to go into a charity shop, maybe pick up 3 or 4 things, know that I can make £50 profit on those things, and then go buy the game, and that makes it free. I want to do that for certain releases, new releases in particular, but maybe if I walk into CEX and I see a few games that I really want them now, we need to go and make some money. So let's go around and have a little look and see if we can actually drum up that amount of profit so we could go back into CEX and buy them. I want to start doing that a little bit more as well. And that is something that I've already done, and you can see it soon on this channel. But if you have enjoyed this episode, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, of course, and until the next time, goodbye.